Sports, Mikey B. A lot of speculation, a lot of talks. Rockets lose it to the Lakers last night. I'm just going to be short and tell you, go straight to the point. But I want to get into some of these, I want to say, podcasters that actually believe the Houston Rockets had a chance at beating the Lakers. I want us to be honest here. Let's be straight up honest, okay? Everybody knows that James Harden and the Rockets had maybe a 2 in 10 chance of beating the Lakers in this series. Everybody knows that. I don't understand what the surprise is. The issues are the moves that they made, I'm assuming due to some salary issues. We can go into the Clint Capella trade, right? That was the biggest one. The signing of Tyson Chandler. You know, these are the type of things that you want to get into to try to understand and say, these are the problems. Maybe the Carmelo Anthony movement. There are several things that you could say, hey, Mike and the coaching, the player development, and in the player scout team, we got to look better into what we're trying to do. But despite all that, you got to be honest, it's the freaking Lakers, and they're loaded from top to bottom everywhere. The Houston Rockets are playing a lot of former role players. The LA Lakers, sorry, I understand Rondo is all older, but he's an all-star caliber talent when he's in the playoffs. You add on to it a LeBron James, a generational player. You add on to it a Anthony Davis, a generational player. How about a couple more all-stars, even though they didn't even play? Dwight Howard on the bench, okay, former all-star, okay? The team, Caldwell Pope is a former 18 and 19 point a game scorer. I don't see how anyone is surprised, disappointed, or looking for any movement from the Houston Rockets end when you talk about expectations. They weren't supposed to win this series, period. With what they had. They didn't have it all. They didn't have all the pieces. It's a process. Did they make too many moves last year? I definitely think so. I definitely think Chris Paul has proven. By the way, Chris Paul legitimately, when you look at the roster that he had versus the roster that the Houston Rockets have, you could argue. I understand Daniel House is a great player. Jeff Green, I love Jeff Green. I love him. Okay? But Daniel Gallinari is another former all-star caliber talent. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I would say he's near a borderline top 6 man of the year, potential one-time all-star. They have Steven Adams, a defensive anchor. Okay, they got Nerlens Noel on the bench for the defensive anchor. Honestly, why didn't the OKC Thunder win the game? I mean, that's the real question. Yeah, OKC should have beat the Rockets. You heard it here first. Go through the roster line by line. Go through the roster line. Let's get into statistics, man. Let's just get to it and take a peek at what we got in the stat line, okay? Now, one guy I did miss out on and is going to shut me up right now is, they got Eric Gordon, a former All-Star as well. So, he didn't show up. All right? He did not show up in this game. 5 points, 2 rebounds, unacceptable. Okay, that's who was not there. PJ Tucker, 8 and 5. Okay, who do I see getting moved? I see Eric Gordon getting moved. They went long enough with him. He's an outstanding player as a shooting guard. They're playing him out of position all the time. They're not utilizing him in the right way. He'd be a great 6th man for a team. I'm arguing that somebody like the Denver Nuggets should look at Eric Gordon trying to pick him up. But Eric Gordon looks like the guy you got to move. He's been there long enough. PJ Tucker, solid, keep him. Robert Covington, cheap, solid, keep him. James Harden, 30 and 6, obviously, keep him. Russell Westbrook, sorry, 10, 6, and 4, too talkative for me, man. Really. He just gets so emotional, man. He's so much in the game. He gets too emotional for me. You never know what you're going to get. It's helter-skelter, man. He's too emotional. Up and down, left and right. I mean, it's just, relax, Russ. Russ, relax, baby, please. It's just too much. It's too much. It's too much for me. You know? Jeff Green, solid performance. I talked about him. 13-2. We went into Austin Rivers, probably his best series, but not giving him enough. 9 points for him. McLemore scored 9. Bruno Caballero should have utilized him more, and they should have developed him better in the beginning of the season to be able to utilize his length. Could have been a great addition. Could have been a game changer. They never gave him time. Chris Clemens comes in at the end, never gave the man time, but look what he scored. I talked about this before. Chris Clemens is a bona fide scoring animal. I go deep. Yes, I know the players, folks. Real hoopers know, listen, I'm the talent man. I can't play for crap, but I am the talent man. I know talent. Yes, I know Chris Clemens. Why wasn't he playing? All right? Why was he not playing? I don't understand it, okay? Utilize your talent. Mike D'Antonio, 90 millionth time. 90 millionth time. Coaches in the NBA, if you have young talent, learn to play them. They got something to give. Congratulations to Mike Malone and the Nuggets for letting Mike Porter Jr. go, and they're reaping the benefits a little bit now. They may not win the series, but they're reaping the benefits. Let them play. Stupid. Sorry, guys. Anthony Davis on the Lakers scored 13-11. So, despite Russell Westbrook's bad game, Anthony Davis really didn't show out from a points perspective, but defensively, they were killer. LeBron James puts up 29, 11, and 7. Typical near triple-double for the man. And then you get some great moves that really changed the dynamics for this team. I went into Dwight Howard. I went into Caldwell Pope. I went into Rajon Rondo, but I didn't even touch on these two guys. Let's start off with Markieff Morris. Markieff Morris and Jeff Green equal it out, okay? So now the Rockets are even a bigger deficit. I understand losing Daniel House was difficult, but Markieff Morris is the game changer in that small ball game. He's killer, and he really changed the dynamics. 16 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds for the kid. Caldwell Pope, I'm just putting you here. You're a 10-point scorer now. If you play like you are defensively, I guess some people will eat and say, I'll take that. And guess what? I'll take that. If you play hard defensively, I'll take the 10, all right? Danny Green, best game for him, okay? 14-4. I don't know because House was out. I don't know what that was, but tremendous game from Danny Green. They need more of that from him. Kyle Kuzma, one of his better performances, and this is the other X factor. I talked about Morris. I talked about how he was a definite game changer, but Kyle Kuzma is definitely the guy. 17-4. If he gets going and they're starting to light it up, it's a scary front court. Maybe one of the scariest front courts left in this playoffs outside, you heard me say it before, the Denver Nuggets. Alex Caruso, 5-2, really playing a great role here off of the bench. Rajon Rondo, 3-5-5. Listen, the stats won't show up in looking at the lines and the numbers. It's in the game, and he's a game changer. Taylor Horton Tucker must have busted his balls off in practice because he's getting some burn. 9 points, 3 rebounds. Solid. Reminds me of a poor man's Eric Gordon, by the way. Okay? J.R. Dudley didn't play at all. They didn't utilize Dwight Howard because they didn't need him. J.R. Smith, J.R. If they can get J.R. going in any capacity to put in a quick 4 or 5, 5 points a game at least, it'll be nice to see. JaVale McGee played a light 3 minutes. And in all, the storyline around this wasn't scoring. Even though the Lakers went out for 120, it was the defense of the Lakers and how they handled the Harden Westbrook situation. Great duo. They met a stronger matchup. So what happens here for the Houston Rockets? Do you move D'Antoni? I don't think you move D'Antoni, and I don't think you need to make some crazy moves. I think one of the biggest things that hurt them during the season was the loss of Gerald Green. That was huge. I mean, he was a consistent bucket. That was huge for them. Then they brought in Kenneth Faried last year and let him go. He would have been perfect for this situation. So, again, Mike D'Antoni or somebody in the player development or player scouting, I don't understand the type of guys you're letting go. Clint Capella-like players, there's a lot of that in this coming draft, okay? There's a lot of that in this coming draft. If you can go ahead and try to get in this draft, Houston Rockets, even free agency, there's several players they can nab with that similar skill set. Maybe not as good as Clint Capella because I like him, what he brings to the table, but definitely develop that player into a Clint Capella-like player. Chandler's too old. Go ahead and go to the draft, get somebody, or the G League. There's plenty of leaper shot blockers available that can be developed into something special that fits this Rockets offensive scheme. I will go ahead and re-sign Gerald Green right back for next year. He needs to be back on his team. Need to have Ben McLemore with a bigger role, and Austin Rivers may have to go. He's too inconsistent. Again, he's solid, but off and on, and the poor kid never got a chance to be utilized in the way that he needs to be. He could be a top, I don't want to say that, but he definitely can be a 14 to 15 point scorer in the NBA if given the opportunity, but never did, never had a chance, never had a window. Too much talent now, too many guards, just came out at the wrong time. So for me, it's a Gerald Green conversation. It's a utilizing Ben McLemore situation. It's a go getting a big guy situation, maybe re-signing Kenneth Faried type situation. You know, that's what we're talking about here. Getting back to the drawing table and bringing back the talent that you had. I mean, that's what you got to do. I mean, it's not anyone's fault right now. I can't blame D'Antoni because, yeah, they should have won at least 2 games. That could be the argument. But truthfully, it was the trades made last year and in the offseason that really hurt this team. It didn't make sense to me with the small ball, but I understood they were aiming for Golden State. The problem is Golden State is no longer there. All right, Golden State's gone, and now it's the Lakers. I understand the logic. Big guys can't run up the court. The problem is there's a big guy that can't run up the court, and his name's Anthony Davis. So you prep for this small ball, but you can't prep for Anthony Davis running the same speed as your guard. And that's the issue, and that's what happened. That's what killed him. That's what killed D'Antonio, and you can't blame the Rockets for that. Anyhow, I gave them the plan of what to do in the offseason. Does it mean a championship? I'm sorry. I just don't know how you win with James Harden and Russell Westbrook for a championship. But if there's injuries and players get older, you know, Golden State's going to be at full bore, and they may even get another All-Star. I mean, so it's going to be tough running for the Rockets, who are now probably the 3rd or 4th best team. The Thunder are only going to get better next year if they can retain Chris Paul and add another piece or develop their current pieces because they got a lot of that. I don't know what to say here for the Rockets, right? They're probably the 4th or 5th best team, in my opinion. And it's going to get even worse when you look at what the Nuggets and the Blazers can bring to the table if they add some pieces or develop their players over this offseason. Probably have a month and a half to try to tweak some skill sets to get them better. So tough run for the Rockets. In all, great team. I love Harden. I like Russell Westbrook's enthusiasm, but his emotions are too high and low. He needs to control himself. He's a grown man now, so that needs to be done with. All Voice wants to sign off. Peace. Mikey B. Lakers. Is it Clippers or Nuggets? Hey, man, I'm still rooting for the Nuggets even though I got the Clippers winning. I'm out of here. Peace.